Take a breath. Come on, Mom, take a bigger breath. Yeah, that's better. That was me at 9 years old. I wanted to be a doctor, and I used to chase my family around the house with my made-up stethoscope and try to get them to breathe. Ms. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests, have you ever saved a life? Maybe you have, and you just don't realize you did. I realized when I was young that I was destined to save lives. So in 1982, I became a paramedic. I have saved hundreds and hundreds of lives, whether they were a drowning kid, a heart attack victim, or once it was a newborn baby. I held his lifeless body in my hands as his mother looked on. And when I suctioned his airway, there was no activity. I tapped him on the bottom of his feet, and he made a faint noise. Then he started to cry robustly as tears welled into his mother's eyes as well as mine. One thing you don't know about me is that before I could help anyone else, I had to escape. I grew up in Harlem, New York. 7 of us lived in a 3-bedroom tenement apartment. I had no privacy, and my neighborhood was a jungle. At 15, I decided that it was time for me to escape. And I did. I escaped by getting married at 16 years old. And then I got a baby at 17. Pretty small. All my wife and I wanted was the opportunity to live in better surroundings. And we did. We escaped by moving to the worst neighborhood in Harlem. We lived in a small studio apartment that had so many rats and roaches that I thought about listing them as dependents on my income tax return. We struggled every day, but we struggled together. My wife Virginia, my daughter Jennifer, and me. We were broke. We could breathe. At 19, I went into service. I was sent to Korea. While in Korea, I was told that my wife had breast cancer. And I rushed home to be by her side at the hospital after surgery. She wouldn't look at me when I came in the room. She said she didn't feel like she was a whole woman. I knew then that I had to grow up and become more of a man. I took her in my arms and I said, honey, we've survived teenage pregnancy, we've survived teenage marriage, we've even survived the rats and the roaches. We're not going to let cancer get us down now, are we? And we didn't. Virginia got better. She went back to work. I went back to the Army. And from Monday to Friday, I was stationed at Fort Dix, New Jersey. We even moved in a better neighborhood and left the rats and roaches alone. Things were looking good. Till one day I came home and found my mother-in-law sitting on the couch, crying. She came up to me and she put her arms around me and said, William, Virginia passed away an hour ago. And I was sitting here trying to figure out how to tell you. I couldn't breathe! What do you do when you can't breathe? I decided to go say goodbye to my beloved wife. And to also remind her that I promised that I'd take care of Jennifer. I also decided that I'd let my daughter see her mom one more time, against the wishes of my in-laws, who told me that she would be traumatized if she was seen in a casket. I didn't know if they were telling the truth or not, But I had made up my mind that my daughter would get to see the woman that brought her into the earth again. We walked into the viewing room, and Jennifer ran up to the casket, stepped up on the step, and looked down in the casket and said, "Mommy, it's me, Jennifer." When she didn't wake up, she looked around at me and said, "Daddy, Mommy's asleep. She not going to wake up?" "No, honey, Mommy's not going to wake up." She looked at her mom again. She said, "Daddy, what are we going to do that Mommy's not here now? I miss her." And I said, "I miss her too." She said, "Is Mommy coming home?" I said, "No, honey, Mommy's already gone home." As I took her hand and started to walk out the room, Jennifer looked back and waved and said, "Bye, Mommy. Have a good time in heaven." A couple of days later, I was sitting watching them lower my best friend down in the ground. I was mad. I wanted to escape. But I felt a tug at my leg. And it was my little 4-year-old daughter that looked up at me and said, "Daddy, I'm hungry." I realized then I needed to grow up and be more of a man. Jennifer had just breathed life into me. There was no escaping. I was in this for 18 years to life. You can save a life. You can breathe life into somebody. For me, it was my skills. But for you, it may be a tender touch, a smile. Or you just might touch somebody on the side and let them know that life goes on. Come on, take a breath. Come on, audience, take a big breath like this. Yes, that's it. Now share that breath with the world. Madam Contest Master.